3 most awkward American muscle cars that made no sense. Muscle cars are supposed to be loud, proud, and powerful. But not every model hit the mark. Some muscle cars tried to be bold and ended up bizarre. From awkward designs to confusing concepts, here are the 12 American muscle cars that made absolutely no sense. Support the channel by subscribing and liking. Thank you. Your support gives us great motivation to make more and more cool videos. Well, and we start. The review. Buckle up. Number 3, 1978. Plymouth Volaré Road Runner. By the late 70s, the muscle car era was a fading memory, and few examples of that decline are more glaring than the Volaré Road Runner. What started as a tire-smoking legend in the 60s had, by 1978, become little more than a badge and stripe package slapped onto a compact economy car. Plymouth tried to keep the Roadrunner name alive after discontinuing the beloved B-body platform. Used the compact Volaré, itself plagued by quality issues, as the base. Styling cues like tape stripes, spoilers, and Roadrunner cartoon badges were added to conjure past glories. Optional V8 powertrains, 318 and 360 cubic inches, but performance was heavily neutered. Handling packages tried to give it a sporty edge, but it was far from the rowdy muscle cars of the 60s. Power output was modest at best. Emissions rules and detuning killed real performance. 0 to 60 mph times were sluggish, and it felt more like a daily driver than a muscle machine. The Volaré's boxy, budget-friendly shape just couldn't wear the Roadrunner suit convincingly. Stripes and decals couldn't hide the truth. This was no tire-shredding monster. The Volaré line had widespread rust and durability issues right out of the gate. Paint quality, interior trim, and overall fit and finish were lacking. Slapping the Roadrunner name on an economy car hurt the name's reputation. Enthusiasts saw right through the gimmick. Unlike the original Roadrunner, the Volaré version is rarely celebrated today. Collectors view it more as an odd footnote than a desirable classic. Symbolic of how far muscle cars had fallen by the late 1970s. A reminder that nostalgia marketing can't make up for the real thing. The 1978 Volaré Roadrunner tried to cash in on a legendary name, but it ended up as a pale imitation of its former self. It wasn't fooling anyone, especially not muscle car fans who remembered the glory days. In the end, it was a Roadrunner in name only, and it quietly disappeared into history's rearview mirror. Number 2, 1974. AMC Hornet X. The AMC Hornet was originally designed as a sensible, affordable compact car. But in the mid-1970s, with muscle car sales slipping and AMC desperate to spice up its lineup, they tried to inject performance bravado into the humble Hornet. Enter the Hornet X, a car with big muscle car ambitions but a small economy car reality. The X package added sporty trim, bright stripes, rally wheels, and optional V8 power. AMC's ads hyped it up as a bold, exciting alternative to bigger muscle machines. You could get the Hornet X with a 304 cubic inch V8, which sounded impressive for a small car. Sport suspension upgrades and bucket seats aimed to back up the visual promises. AMC aimed the Hornet X squarely at younger buyers who wanted muscle flair, without the insurance penalties or high prices of traditional big block beasts. Despite the V8 option, the car was no tire shredder. Emissions regulations and low compression neutered the power output, resulting in uninspiring acceleration. Beneath the stripes and flashy badging, it was still a practical commuter car. The interior and ride quality leaned more toward budget-friendly than performance-focused. Other compacts of the era, like the Ford Maverick Grabber, or even GM's sporty compacts overshadowed the Hornet X enthusiasts stuck with older muscle cars or the few remaining true performers. AMC never fully shook its budget brand image, and slapping a performance badge on a Hornet felt like wishful thinking. Today, the Hornet X is a curiosity. Part muscle car, part economy hatchback, part marketing gamble. Collectors of AMC oddities appreciate its rarity, but it's far from mainstream desirable. The Hornet X stands as a perfect example of how automakers in the 70s struggled to keep the muscle car spirit alive in a changing market. Style alone couldn't carry the day. The 1974 AMC Hornet X wore its stripes proudly, but it couldn't hide its economy car roots. It was a fun effort from a scrappy underdog, but in the end, it lacked the muscle and menace to be taken seriously. Still, it's an entertaining chapter in AMC's quirky history, and a reminder that sometimes you just can't fake muscle. Number 1. 1971 Ford Torino GT. By 1971, the Ford Torino GT was caught in a tough spot. Once a proud part of Ford's muscle car lineup, the Torino had become a bigger, softer, and less focused machine. What started as a sleek mid-sized performer had ballooned into something heavier and less agile, just as muscle cars were beginning to feel the squeeze of insurance hikes and emissions regulations. The 1970 redesign gave the Torino a Coke bottle shape, but by 1971, the styling updates were minor. Ford emphasized comfort and size, hoping to appeal to a broader audience. You could get big engines, like the 429 Cobra Jet V8, that packed serious punch on paper. But these high-output models were rare, and most buyers ended up with tamer powertrains. Ford positioned the Torino GT as a step above the base models. With sportier trim, rally stripes, and available mag wheels, it aimed to balance muscle car fun with everyday usability. The Torino GT got bulky, over 4,000 pounds in some trims, extra heft, dulled acceleration and handling, blunting its performance edge. Insurance surcharges on muscle cars were rising, and emissions restrictions were tightening. As a result, many Torino GTs came with smaller engines that simply couldn't deliver the thrills buyers expected. Ford had the Mustang stealing the spotlight, and the Mach 1 getting more attention. The Torino GT felt like the middle child, not as famous, not as focused. Buyers were moving away from pure muscle toward personal luxury and practicality. The Torino GT, caught in the transition, felt like a relic of a fading era. The 1971 Torino GT marks the beginning of the muscle car's decline. Big, brash, but increasingly compromised. It's not the Torino enthusiasts remember fondly. That would be the earlier Cobra Jet models or NASCAR heroes. Today, some appreciate its dramatic lines and fastback profile, especially with the optional sports roof. Not the hottest ticket in the muscle car world, but clean examples still turn heads at shows. The 1971 Ford Torino GT looked the part, but it couldn't keep up with its earlier reputation. Heavy, softened, and overshadowed, it struggled to stand out in a crowded field of shrinking muscle cars. Still, there's charm in its bold design and blue oval badge. A reminder of when Ford tried to keep the muscle car flame alive, even as the winds of change blew strong.